Hi, this is the Ashley Corinne, also known as Corinne Wednesday, and this is take 3. Um, I just want to talk. I'll make this really brief. I just want to talk about politics for a second here. I know that's very strange of me to do, but there is going on right now in the West, and I'm speaking specifically of America, but also in the West in general. Sort of a toxification of the right. And I voted for Donald Trump, okay? And just briefly, I'll explain why I voted for Donald Trump. I don't need to explain how I voted for Donald Trump. I pushed a button on a touchscreen. But why I voted for Donald Trump is I didn't think he was a true conservative. Now, I've learned otherwise. And see, the thing is, for international viewers, for people who didn't grow up in America, I'm about to age myself, but I was born in 1983, so I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And I know who Donald Trump was. That's why when that whole Stormy Daniels shit came out, I wasn't like, Donald Trump had an affair? Of fucking course he did. He's Donald Trump. He's a New York playboy, dude. And I'm not excusing that, but there's a reason the man's been married 3 times. I'm just calling a spade a spade. But as a transgender person, it makes me worry. Because I've said this before, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump himself, necessarily. I'm afraid of his followers. I'm afraid of that guy that one Halloween, when me and my wife at the time were walking into town and she was dressed as a man and I was dressed as a girl because it was Halloween. And some guy on his fucking porch yelled out faggot. And my ex-wife, God bless her, she started yelling at him, and I was like, shush, 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 babe. Come on, you don't want to start this. It's okay. He's just an ignorant, racist, homophobic, xenophobic bastard. It's okay. Don't worry about him. But that's what I'm worried about. That's what I call the toxification of the right. Because I need to be open and honest about my political leanings, okay? So, I voted for Trump. We all make mistakes, but when I registered to vote, and that was a couple years ago. So I didn't even vote until I was in my 30s. I'm 35 right now. And it's because I was a political nihilist. There's a whole story behind that. But anyways, when I registered to vote, it asks, "Are you?" So in America, it asks, "Are you Republican, Democrat, or Independent?" And I registered as Independent. because I grew up conservative, so I grew up in a Republican household. And I remember when George W. Bush became president. This is super cringe. But I remember when George W. Bush became president when I was in high school. I was like, I'm glad he is president because he believes in God. Fucking 2 Patriot Acts later and fucking 2 wars, one of which isn't even over yet. And I supported Barack Obama, and I liked Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton was, I'd have to say, if I had to pick a favorite president, it would have to be Bill Clinton. He was a good president. And I was born when Jimmy Carter was president. I don't remember that very much. But I remember Reagan. I remember the Cold War. And I remember talking to my brother, and this was back in the primaries. And I've told this story in other videos. Exercising some demons there. But I talked to, hold on. Sorry. Had to clear the airways. Talking to my brother, and this was back when it was like Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Michelle Bachmann, John Kasich, fucking Herman Cain, fucking pick your soda, when there was 32 people running for president on the fucking Republican side. And listen to this part especially. Is I was talking to my brother on the phone, actually. I was chilling with my niece, and we were hanging out, but I was my brother called me, and so it was sort of an interesting hangout session. But I said, and he was all in for Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, because he's a liberal religious person. And I said, don't count Donald Trump out, because he was laughing him off like, Donald Trump. Donald Trump's gonna become president. Holy shit, Donald Trump became president. And I said, don't count him out, because I had been listening to white nationalist podcasts. Not because I agree with it. Suppose you could say I was doing opposition research. Because I'm a patriot, but I'm not a nationalist, per se. And, I only have precious seconds left, so I won't parse out the details, but I'm not a prophet, and I don't have powers of prophecy, but I saw what was coming. And that's what scares me the most. Because, people should have their own political opinions. And that's, I'm all about freedom of speech. I'm all about First Amendment. But, and this is hyperbole, but I keep having nightmares of Germany 1939. That's hyperbolic. That's not literal. It's a figure of speech. I'm a writer. But this is the Ashley Corinne signing off. Signing out.